Welcome back to Fox Netball. We're all set for what promises to be a blockbuster RAC Arena in Perth, hosting round 10. Annie Sargent and Caitlin Bassett joining you for this one in commentary with Natty Medhurst on the sideline. Already players are out on court. West Coast Fever, well, they're returning home top of the table after a win over Sunshine Coast Lightning. Melbourne Vixens, they're number 2 on the ladder. And let me tell you, they're biting at the heels of their host. RAC Arena is a cauldron for any visitor, let alone a visitor that threatens Fever's chance of a minor premiership. Ball is being delivered. Umpires with this match, Kate Wright and Bronwyn Adams. And we're all set, Caitlin Bassett, possibly for a preview of the 2022 Grand Final. Lizzie Watson gets us underway for the Vixens. Mwenda out on lead. Mundy with the feed. And the visitors are first on the board. And Caitlin Bassett, it's a reject midcourt for the Vixens.
That's right, seeing Hannah Mundy in that wing attack position and Kate Maloney, captain back in wing defence. I think this was off the back of a great performance by these two players. And why wouldn't you? If you're going to have to, if you want to beat the Fever, why not start something different and start a strong combination?
Yeah, round 8 against the Firebirds. They pulled this mid-court shuffle. Di Honey in control with Simone McKenna's home sick on COVID, and they're off and running, the visitors. Great jump from Ariang. Doesn't bother Kumwenda. And we've got 3 shooters in commentary. It's a dream team, so I'm going to talk this one up. We expect it to be a shootout. 2 of the best in the world. Kumwenda, the Malawi sensation. Fowler at the other end. They come to this match. Fowler off 66 from 66. Kumwenda off 50 from 50. Kumwenda getting more of the leather to start.
That's right, Annie, and I think for these two, Austin and Kumwenda, the defence for the Fever really have to make sure they're shutting down each of their players. They can't just sink back and double. They have to make sure they're doing the work, because Kira Austin has been dominant. She's been putting up great numbers, and Kumwenda is currently shooting at 90%, so we know she's dangerous when she has ball in hand.
So, Fever on the board, trailing the visitors. Over the line is Hannah Mundy. Gee, she was good when they tried her there, round 8. Best we've seen from her. Maloney so dogged in defence. Her job will be to restrict supply to Fowler through the hands of Alice Teague-Neal. Double shuffle from Kumwenda. And some adjustment from Courtney Bruce. Kumwenda looks oh so comfortable to start. Oh, good touch there from Olivia Lewis. Of course, former Fever player, knows how the Fever work, has played on Fowler several times. And Nat Medhurst, you know how this team works better than anybody.
Yeah, it's obviously been a bit of a sloppy start by the Fever here, but we've already seen from both of these teams is defensively they've set up a bit of a box defense when the ball's heading down into the shooting, and so you can expect to see a lot more of that throughout this game. It's obviously what both of these teams are thinking will stifle that flow into those shooters.
Thanks, Nat. We'll get to you more throughout the game. Quick ball, Watson into Austin. Cool as a cucumber, so steady. This is a strong start from the visitors, a big statement. Remembering never in Suncorp Super Netball history have West Coast Fever claimed the title as minor premiers. Twice grand finalists in 2018 and 2020 as the Vixens again robbed them of possession. But the minor premiership and the title itself have eluded the Fever. Vixens though, well, minor premiers twice and champions in 2020. And they've got the Fever chasing early. Out by 6. Ruth Ariang with the job of containing Austin. Here's Watson, very good at centre, round 8. Weston winds up the arm, picks up the short drive from Hannah Mundy. Circle edge, home alone, Maui Kumwenda. It's all too easy for the visitors. And as expected, an HCF tactical timeout has been taken to stem the flow.
I was just about to ask, how long do you leave a team like the Vixens out? How long do you let them get out before you call time to try and rein them back in?
Well, there's your answer. The answer is 7.
7 goals.
We'll see what we can eavesdrop in these huddles.
basic jobs right now, all right? So where your player is, you're breathing down their neck. So the basic fundamental work, full court defence, own job, no sitting in between stuff. You are directly on your own the whole time until we get into our groove, all right? So full accountability on it. In attack, got to do the work off the ball. We need more options than it, all right? More than one, okay? So keep doing the work to keep offering. If we need to reset, we reset. There's got to be this confidence to attack forward and use the air, all right? Scoreboard pressure, just get into the flow. Own jobs first, guys. Let's go. Come on.
Let's go, two things. We take our feet through on the ball, okay? No stopping on the catches, they run through, they're told. And in defence, it's full court defence, okay? Everyone hands up, we make them work for 4 or 5 seconds. Here we go.
Fever on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Fever!
Courtney Bruce leads the Fever out on court. There was a lot said in that break, a lot of information to absorb.
Yeah, look, I think it's just about getting ball. They've got 3 turnovers so far compared to the Vixens 0. And interesting to see as well, Fowler, with almost 5 minutes gone in this quarter, has not put up a shot, whereas Wenda down the other end at 6 from 6 already. So expect to see maybe her come out to try and get that ball, or encouraging them to get that ball down to her faster.
Yeah, that was one of the messages from Dan Ryan in his HCF tactical timeout, and he said to use the air to Fowler. That's where she can exploit. Olivia Lewis working in and around the body. She's got some hops, Olivia Lewis, but that was a better ball. The Fever with a little bit of momentum out of the break. Very direct, the Vixens, patient and controlled. Contact called against Stacey Francis Bayman. She was good last week, 3 intercepts. London Watson. On the back to Kira Olsen. She just opened some space for the Malawi international. And again, Fever find themselves out of play.
Yeah, unfortunately, those penalties is creeping up. 5 already, 2 for Courtney Bruce, 3 now. So just got to make sure that she's staying in play, but still being effective.
Oh, look at the hold from Kumwenda, almost using the arm, unsighted. It's going to be a nice little battle under the post. Again, possession with Melbourne Vixens, very direct. The roll comes from Austin. Courtney Bruce gets a piece. Better challenge from her. And the message from Dan Ryan, play one-on-one. Let's sort out this defence before we change up the structure. This is a chance for the host side. Glasgow looks long, looks high, not perfectly placed. Lewis gets a piece. Bit of momentum with the home side as Fowler takes them to 3 and the crowd starts to get involved. Mundy, uncontested off the line, powerful. Good touch again from Courtney Bruce, reading the play well, clean off the body.
And we talked about Courtney Bruce and deflections before the game, and she's racking up a few deflections. She's sitting at 2nd in the league at the moment, but what we want to see more from her is 2 hands on the ball. We want to see those clean intercepts.
5 intercepts last week, and I wonder, and you know this, you know her well from playing with her, training against her, playing against her. Sarah Clow's been in great form. Is there part of her mind, I know she's Fever captain directing the team, that thinks, I need to show Stacey Marankovic I'm the #1 contender when you're looking at goalkeeper for Commonwealth Games?
Oh, look, I don't think so. Look, it might be in the back of her mind. I think Cordo is, you know, forming a fantastic combination with Sunday Ararong, and they're a great combination that could potentially be in the Diamonds team later on this year. So I think that will be her main focus.
61 deflections coming into this match. She'd like to find a few more of them in hand and held and turned over into goals as Glasgow goes to post. Fever hit 5, starting to find their rhythm. Vixens in control. Nat, how are you seeing their structure from centre through to goal?
Yeah, the Vixens are finding it a lot easier to get that second phase depth of their centre pass, which is something that the Fever have really been struggling with, and we've seen some held balls, some turnovers, or Fever are having to play it back again before they're able to go forward. So Vixens are being able to find that second phase really nicely, which has been able to set them up.
Thanks for that, Nat, it's interesting because Liz Watson sits so high on the leaderboard for goal assists and centre pass receives, yet in that centre role it swings the dynamic. Great opportunity for Hannah Mundy, who's been very impressive this season each time she's had the outing. Over the top they go, over the top of Courtney Bruce, and Maui Kamwenda takes the Vixens to 13 over halfway through this first quarter. 11 times these two have met, the head-to-head favouring the visitors, 6-3. Twice they've drawn. Be still my heart, could that be on the cards? Doesn't look like it at the moment. Some work to be done by the Fever.
You called it the other night, Annie. You called the draw when no one was expecting it. So maybe if you manifest it, it'll happen.
I think I better concentrate. Nice touch back. Fowler onto Glasgow. Slowly chiseling their way into the game are the Fever. No contest. Hannah Mundy over the line. Frances Bayman back, trying to work in the defensive unit, giving a free rein of circle edge access. Austin very happy to shoot from mid-range. One of the few misses from her.
On the ball.
Umpires for the match, Kate Wright, Bronwyn Adams. Causing contact, goes against Kate Maloney.
And we
No
see
easy access.
Fever going back to their what I think is their strongest lineup. Last week they started with Emma Koch adding goal attack that we've seen before and works really well, opting to have Alice Teague-Neal and Sasha Glasgow starting off the bench. But this lineup that we have here, I think, is probably their most solid and most consistent, especially in that attacking end.
Well, probably the first time we've seen such versatility used in the line. Last week they had Pittman in the line. She's there again with Answer still being unavailable. So Pittman was part of their starting line at wing attack.
Dan Ryan pulling all the tricks out, and why not? You know, if you're going into finals, you want to make sure all your players are ready and work out who your best combination is under pressure.
We asked him a couple of weeks ago if he thought they were anywhere near their best. He said no, still working on it, but he had every faith it would come. The expiration of that line and the combinations part of the puzzle. But that is an ominous sign. 16-7, the visitors out in front. The Vixens would love this start. And no sense of urgency in the Fever line at the moment. Don't feel the intensity from them.
No, it is a little bit quiet, both, you know, voice and on court, and it just seems like everyone's just, I don't know, I feel like Vixens are kind of taking control and taking the reins at the moment. Fever are just happy to shoot and score off their centre passes, but they need to start turning some ball over in the Vixens attacking end.
We're just into the power five. Vixens out to 17. They've taken the air out of the stadium early. No easy road to post for West Coast Fever. Simmons, high ball. Not perfectly placed. Took a bit of time on it. Time enough for Lewis to get up. Through the back door. Weston Maloney just resetting cross court. Looking for the middle corridor. Comes through Kamwenda. Patient, controlled from the Melbourne Vixens. Long range shot.
Interesting to see Liz Watson, the only one at the top of the circle. Verity Simmons just assumed that one had gone in and backed off, leaving that rebound all to Lizzie.
Wry smile from the face of the West Coast Fever captain. Bit of urgency there from Fowler. This for two, and Glasgow's been good from there on the leaderboard for super shots. 26 to her name so far this season. Offloads though, takes the one, and the Fever hit 10. Way too easy progress, centre pass to post, almost uncontested.
That's right, we haven't seen the signature Courtney Bruce screaming out of the circle for the intercept, which means Kamwenda is keeping her busy back there. Oh!
And not a perfect ball into the circle. They haven't got their radar, they haven't got their punch, the Fever. Vixens again in control.
And that's exactly the ball that the Vixens need to attack. It is hard to win ball off a player like Janelle Fowler. She is so strong in there. Courtney Bruce, frustrated she just missed that one.
And just look at the percentages there. 62% possession to the visitors. Short ball, beautifully timed. Great positioning from Olivia Lewis. All going the way of the visitors. Out by 10. something, a familiar pattern, over the top, plenty of time, plenty of air.
So what's the switch up? What does Fever need to do to kind of gain control and get back in there and then some dominance in that goal circle?
Will take us through the options on the bench. Is it a matter of adjusting what's on court or going to your bench, Kate?
Well, unfortunately, Rudy Ellis is not in the game today, so, you know, we don't have her to turn to. They do have Shannon Eglin, who has been a former West Coast Fever player and would have, as Courtney Bruce finally gets a pick-up outside the circle. Shannon Eglin and her, you know, have a great combination. She's living in WA at the moment, working for UWA. Lizzie Watson, she's just a go-getter, isn't she? Whatever position she is, she just wants ball.
And she's really built across the season, remembering she was off court last season. I think we're really seeing, you know, her position as Australian Diamonds captain showcased on court no matter where she's playing. Takes control, leads the ship.
Agree, and I like this switch-up, seeing her in centre and Maloney in wing defence. I just think it gives plenty of options and it shows the depth that both these players have.
Let's get down courtside to Nat Medhurst.
Yeah, I think Fever not being able to have Jess Anstis in this game is a bit of a loss for them, particularly around that versatility that they have at the moment. And Stacey Francis-Bayman really needs to get herself into this game and really shut down Hannah Mundy. Hannah Mundy, she's got 7 goal assists, 9 feeds, and Francis-Bayman is currently sitting on minus 16.5 net points. So she needs to get in, she needs to really shut Mundy down, and when she has the ball in her hand, we saw a turnover just before, she really needs to make sure that she's able to help drive that ball into attack for Fever, because Fever are currently struggling off their centre pass, and that's an area that they really need to get right.
Absolutely. And Caitlin, it's uncharacteristic from Francis-Bayman. She normally is dogged in attack, in defence.
That's right, and you know, to think they were on the Sunshine Coast only a few days ago, they're back in Perth now. You have to think of the impact that that has on players. This is a tough competition. It's no walk in the park on court. They're physical out there. Courtney Bruce is tapping from behind. I really want to see her work her footwork and try and get a better angle to have a proper go at that ball.
Well, we can see pieces of it from the Fever captain, but it's coming in so fast to her, it's hard to get the position early. See them offline now, trying to work a little bit of a box, holding up the Vixens, but they're so experienced at playing through it. It's still a walk in the park at the moment.
That's right, probably one of the most clinical teams in the competition, especially in attack. They'll work the ball, they'll reset it, they will go again until it's safely in the circle.
Fowler drops one in. Simone McInnes looks contained. Why wouldn't you? Vixens have made the trip to Perth off the back of an extensive road trip and look as relaxed as ever. They lead the Fever 23-14 against all odds.
Welcome back to RAC Arena, where the Melbourne Vixens have a 9-goal lead over the home team, the West Coast Fever. I listened in to Dan Ryan. He went straight up to Verity Simmons and said she really needs to switch into her defensive game. Liz Watson is running all over the place. Dan has made a change with Chelsea Pittman coming into the lineup.
Thanks, Nat. 23-14, the quarter time score brought to you by Origin Energy. And remember, this is between the competition leaders. There's daylight between Fever, Vixens and the rest of the competition. Congested ladder below that. And this match could well shape the minor premiership and all that goes with it. The right to host the major semi, 2 bites at the cherry. A lot to play for in this game, but at the moment the smiles are on the faces of the Vixens. That's reflected in a change already by the Fever. Chelsea Pittman, who started for them last week, now on at wing attack. And Caitlin Bassett, she's very experienced. We know she's played for both Australia and England internationally. She's a very quick access to Fowler, and they need that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Dan Ryan wants, is he needs to put some score on, and a player like Chelsea Pittman has that vision and she can execute. So with now Verity Simmons and Chelsea Pittman, we should be seeing a lot more ball open up into her.
Courtney Bruce was our Telstra player to watch. How do you rate her report card so far?
Oh, look, have a look at the stats. Kamwenda, 17 from 17 so far. I think Courtney, she's just struggling to get around the body. And, you know, Kira Austin out the front as well is wreaking a bit of havoc. So she's thinking about trying to shut down 2 players at once. I'd love to see her just dominate on Kamwenda.
Fowler scores for the Fever. Well, let's look at the keeper at the other end, Olivia Lewis. A nice switch up for the Vixens. They put on a former Fever defender on Fowler. She'd know her well. She's doing a good job.
I think so. She's already come out and picked up some handy ball. And, you know, when it comes to Fowler, you're not going to get everything. So it's about wearing her down over the game, getting what you can. And I think, you know, she's kept her to 10 goals in one quarter, which is unheard of for Fowler.
Olivia Lewis on screen, but enjoying this outing against her former team. Got a spring and a step. 10 the difference. Nat, how do you see the second quarter early?
Fever's still struggling a little bit off their centre pass. It took a little while to get that ball into Fowler just now, but I think with Chelsea Pittman coming into this, the lineup for Fever here, I think you will see this connection with her and Fowler really start to grow. I think it was lacking a bit there in that first quarter. Normally we do see that long ball go in, and I think Chelsea, one of her strengths is her vision. She has amazing sight of what is happening around the court and those ball skills, and I think that's something that we're going to see more of in this quarter, is her looking longs earlier on in the piece.
Absolutely, and she has great deception. That one goes awry for the Vixens. This could be a moment for Fever to turn things around. The crowd trying to get behind them, trying to ignite something. Usually such a cauldron here at RAC Arena. What a welcome venue for visitors. That one comes undone. Simmons uses the speed to pick up the crumbs. Olivia Lewis just mistimes the challenge, takes Glasgow to the deck.
Here we see the Harvey Norman replay. Olivia Lewis is challenging from behind and clipping Glasgow, but the penalty was actually called against Sasha Glasgow.
Crowd doesn't like it. Kamwenda out, almost to the transverse line. At one end of the court, she's demanding the ball. At the other end of the court, Fowler's almost a spectator.
That's right. Is it trying to change something different? Do we put on a moving circle, which we haven't seen a lot of from Fever, or any of, actually. We haven't seen Fowler leave the court this entire season.
Could be the first time. Something needs to happen. And again, misplaced ball. Glasgow, poor ball in. Olivia Lewis coming up with another stat that she'll love. Kamwenda, second time in a row, almost down to the transfers, goes to the confidence of the Vixens side.
And she knows if she takes that ball strongly, she's going to get a penalty against Courtney Bruce, which will leave her outside the circle, and a 2-on-1 inside the circle. So smart play from her.
Message from Simone McInnes was to keep the foot down, don't let them back into the game. And the Vixens seem to be respecting the coach's wishes. Oh, good drive right through Courtney Bruce. Bit of an elbow on the way, but Kamwenda, she's come to play. 19 from 19 for Maui Kamwenda. In comparison, Fowler just the 11.
Interesting to see as well, Fowler's being forced out further and further. This is, you know, she's good at shooting that range, but she hasn't had to for such a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how her stats fare. She's 12 from 12 at the moment. But I'd love to see Emma Koch now in goal attack start putting some scoreboard pressure on as well.
Little misfire from the Vixens. They've been few and far between the errors. Chance for the Fever to get themselves back in this game. Billed as a massive arm wrestle between the top two. Fever have been reduced to bystanders. Quick ball from Pittman. That will engage Fowler. In turn, engage the crowd. Here's a moment for the Fever. Centre to follow. Koch quick over the line, looks down, again directly, and a quick ball again, turning Fowler, but away from Lewis, so a smart play by Pittman.
I think so. I think the speed of Koch is really going to help their centre pass. That first phase, Chelsea Pittman smart, she knows, get back for second and then straight into Fowler.
All of a sudden, there's a spring in the step of the home side. There's some work to be done. They need to disrupt the flow, though, in this Vixens line. That'll do it, a 3-second call. The first moment of hesitation we've seen from the Melbourne Vixens. Simmons loses the handle. More drive now coming from Frances Bayman. And Chelsea Pittman's made a difference.
That she has. straight away, I think she's just changed that timing in the attacking end. She's given Kate Maloney something different to think about. She's a different body. She plays a different style of netball, and it's certainly helping the Fever.
And far more confidence. And it's recognised by the Melbourne Vixens. Simone McInnes calling an HCF tactical timeout, and we'll go to the quiet space you and I enjoy when they do the work.
They'll bring it down to you. And don't come up too early, Han. Yeah, just be patient. Still be on the move, but we're trying to just go too long. So shorten it up, shorten it up. Just keep that ball movement and that speed, all right? Loose out. Fakes the movement of the ball, the fakes, the dynamic movement. Keep it going.
Let's go. Exactly what Joey said. Let's give that short option if it's on. Keep the ball moving. Give and goes. Work rate the whole time. Indeed, we're right on them all the way. Long shooting now. Let's go. Six on three. 1, 2, 3, Vix. Let's go.
Still smiles in the Vixens huddle. Simone McInnes, no need to panic. Fever put the foot down in the second quarter last weekend, round 9. Temporarily silencing the Lightning. It was a 22-11 performance in their second quarter last round. They need to draw on that now. They lead this one 6-5, and you can see pieces of resilience from them. Injection from Pittman doing some positive stuff. That shot would have helped. Just doesn't have the usual flow and directness to post we see from competition leaders.
That's right, and it's great to see Emma Kosh put that shot up, because after all, you've got Janelle under the post to pick up those rebounds, so I'd love to see some more confidence in just taking that ball and shooting wherever she lands in the circle.
Contact wing defence on the edge.
Here, Austin. Oh, an offload. I'm not sure why she didn't go to post. That's what was needed. Here's a moment for the Fever as they swoop down court. Pittman, again, instrumental in finding Fowler. That will do the hearts of this Fever crowd fine. They take it to 22. Fever back in business.
That Harvey Norman replay, Courtney Bruce read that perfectly. She had eyes on the ball, and she watched. She knew that she wasn't going to shoot that ball, and she was ready for the offload.
Well, it's taken almost to the midway mark of the second quarter, but Fever are back in business in chase position, but now there's belief in the cap. Nat Medhurst, what can you see?
You touched on it, Caitlin, in your commentary earlier about that speed that Emma Kosh is bringing into this attack line for the Fever. She's really keeping Joe Weston busy, and it's allowing Chelsea Pittman to get that second phase and then look long into Fowler. And that quick ball is really making it difficult for Liv Lewis to be able to get up and have a crack at it. And that obviously bypassing all those side balls. So that's really working well for them. And it's just so much cleaner off their centre passes. And Verity Simmons is starting to get herself into the game.
Maybe they didn't set the alarm clock, but they've scored 7 of the last 10 on the trot, the Fever. So they're starting to warm to the task. Remember, this is so important for both sides to try and seal #1 spot on the ladder. And it's a 9-6 quarter for the Fever. All of a sudden, the hesitation rests with the visitors. Another mistake made, so they're getting into the heads of the Vixens. The West Coast Fever. Frustration on the face of Joe Weston. Contact goes against Kumwenda. And Courtney Bruce. A sense of urgency now from this Fever lineup.
That's right, not surprised to see Fever fighting back. They're a quality side, and when they get their flow going, they are so hard to stop. Unfortunately, a footwork call there.
Maloney, will we see the mid-court change? Hannah Mundy, hesitation. Obstruction call against Verity Simmons. Cool as you like from Kira Austin, just warming a hand. Power 5 section coming up soon where we see some Suncorp super shots. Looks long.
Bad obstruction, goal defense.
Always the thought to Fowler, but no urgency. And the Fever bring it to 25, starting to narrow the gap. Oh, almost. Read well by Francis Bayman. Didn't quite get there.
Fever doing a great job in just forcing so many passes from the Vixens. Even from their centre pass, their first ball was all in line with the centre. I think it's taken them about 20 balls to get that ball into the circle.
All of a sudden, Kumwenda looking a little less content, having to work harder. Hesitation from Kosh. Space being confused nicely by the two Vixen defenders. There's another 5 the difference. Nat, eyes on the sideline. What have you got?
Yeah, the Vixens forward line has just been struggling a bit, obviously, with this pressure that Fever have been able to put on them in this second part of the second quarter. And Mundy and Austin have been almost mirroring each other, and that's gone from the centre pass. So I'd like to see them to just take a breath, maybe find some set plays off their centre pass, actually then go back so that they're able to read off each other. Because at the moment, they're following each other and then they're clogging up that space, and there's sometimes no one there to go for the ball.
Thanks, Nat. Well, we did say moments ago, will we see a shift in the mid-court for the Vixens, and that might clarify that situation. Of course, Lizzie Watson can be slotted back to wing attack. Maloney to centre. We've got a game in our hands now into the power 5. And the Vixens not having things all their own way. Dan Ryan on his feet, no longer patient. Money to Austin. Suncorp super shot, and she drops it. Kira Austin. $100 to the Confident Girls Foundation to help the foundation continue their work keeping girls in the game. Of course, they do this through a great variety of programs. And of course, we've got to love their recent community response grants to help clubs and associations and members impacted by those devastating floods in Queensland. Lots of great work done by Suncorp. As Fowler puts up 1. Through the back door go the Vixens. All of a sudden, this game has shifted. Slip from Courtney Bruce.
Yeah, Kumwenda did a great job just bringing Courtney Bruce outside the circle, changing direction, heading back, found herself alone underneath the post. Courtney Bruce, I think, thinks it's a slippery court potentially.
Yeah, I think she wasn't sure whether she slipped on the decal in the first place or the ground, but out comes the mop. Still not happy, wants it fixed, says the boss.
Well, it becomes a player safety thing, doesn't it? You don't want to be running outside the circle, slipping over. It's really important, and it's hard when the players are working so hard. They're sweating, they're falling over.
I think it's a warning from Courtney Bruce that she's going to come out hunting herself. I think that's what it's all about.
This is my area now.
Oh, the complexion of the game has changed. 3 minutes until half-time, and we've got a game on our hands. They've been slow to warm to the task, the West Coast Fever. They need to run these last couple of minutes in well, so they go to the halftime break with a real belief.
And look at these shooting stats. They have totally equaled up. MJ shooting 22 from 22 at 100%, but now Janelle Fowler has joined her, shooting 22 from 22. So her workload and the ball going into her has just gone through the roof in this quarter.
All about ball supply to Fowler. That's been the story of this second quarter. We did promise a shootout, and they are warming to their task. Maui Kumwenda for the Vixens at one end, Janelle Fowler at the other. And Kira Austin having a piece in between. That one doesn't drop. Chance for Fever. 2 minutes. Plenty can be done in 2 minutes. And Dan Ryan will be trying to storm his troops home into that halftime break. On his feet. Pittman. Verity Simmons. Just trying to find the link. Back play, good pressure from Austin. Gee, she's good defensively.
She gets her hand in so many things. She's already got an intercept and she wants to get a couple more, I think. Verity Simmons just hesitating a bit on that feed into Fowler. Joe West and Olivia Lewis just doing a great job at confusing that space and creating that indecision from her.
Hedging their bets. Watson looks directly down court. Cut and dry from the co-captain. Bit of hesitation. They're confusing the space well now, the Fever defenders. But true to post is Kamwenda. A little run here from the Vixens. Wouldn't you like to be a fly in the wall in the Fever huddle at halftime to find out what he says to reinvigorate this Fever side who've been flat from the get-go and are now warming to their task. They want to run it home. That one from Suncorp super shot range doesn't fall. Long ball to Watson.
And we see Sasha Glasgow back on court. She's the most prolific super shot scorer, say that fast, in this team. I don't want to. In this team, so not surprising we see her back on. And she could really put some pressure on this scoreboard and peg back this 7-goal lead.
This for one. Takes the Vixens to 37. They've just pushed out their lead again, having been run out by Fever, who've taken this quarter by 1. Dan Ryan would like more. Light work around the body from RM.
They've got a ball collector. Straight up.
All that work done by the ball collector, no time to put it into play, and that is the halftime siren. So Fever taking the quarter by 1, bridging the gap slightly. You saw just the stimulus of greater things to come from them, a hint of what might come in this second half. Welcome back, Annie Sargent and Caitlin Bassett joining you for this one, billed as a top-of-the-table clash that may well be a rehearsal for the grand final. Well, the Vixens read the script. The Fever are a little slow to warm to the task. One smiling coach is Simone McInnes. Simone, do you like a road trip or something, or are you just still riding high off the back of getting out of that match on the weekend in extra time?
No, we were certainly looking forward to getting over here and playing. You know, it's us obviously super happy with the way they've started this match, but we're only halfway through.
Simone, you started with a little bit of a different lineup. Hannah Mundy in wing attack, pushing Kate Maloney into wing defence and Lizzie into centre. Started off fantastically, weathered the storm in the second quarter. Were you happy with that?
I was super happy. I mean, it's a really strong mid-court option for us, and I thought Hannah came into the game really well, so really happy with that.
We wondered, Simone, whether you'd run Olivia Lewis, given her intel on foul. You'd have to be pleased with that as well.
Oh, super pleased. I mean, she's, you know, we talked about just attacking the ball and going for it. Defensively across the court, we've been having a go at the ball, which is something that we wanted to be better at.
Just quickly and in closing, so we know you want to get back in the match, is it in your mind to rest legs and rotate them because of this condensed round of 3 rounds, or are you just playing it tactically for the moment?
We have to be conscious of loads on players and where they're at and where we're at in the season. There's a lot of netball still ahead, but you know, we're really confident in our squad and our team and what they can do, but we're certainly mindful of the loads across this week.
Well, we'll let you get back to the business of winning. Good luck for the rest of the match.
Thank you.
Well, last week, Dan Ryan asked of his team on the Sunshine Coast to take the crowd out of the game. This week, he'll want them to bring the crowd into the game. They had a 7-goal run in that second quarter, got them back in the business of contesting, but not in the business of winning.
That's right, an unusual position for the West Coast Fever to be in, trailing at halftime. And like Chelsea Pittman mentioned, they want to win this. They want to win the minor premiership. They want to win this competition. So they're really putting that pressure and putting this high standard on themselves to play well.
And Mannix now at goal defence, replacing Joe Weston for the Melbourne Vixens. That one straight through the middle of the 2 Vixens defenders. A good start for Fever. Mundy, strong circle edge with a good feed. That ball, though, a wayward run out of the hands of the Melbourne shooter. Chance here for Fever, bit of momentum out of the half-time.
And that turnover really was started by Ariran coming out and having a chew at it, forced Liz Watson to chase it up out of court and picked up by Frances Bayman.
It's outside.
Just flirting with 3 seconds there, but they get away with it. Kosh to post, comes back, Fowler. Gee, Olivia Lewis, that standing jump, it's got to be one of the best in the business. Well past Fowler then.
I heard her say in commentary, 56 centimetres, and then laughed, and I thought, holy moly, that's impressive.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. And I think she wanted more. It's a beautiful, beautiful vertical leap. 6-goal game as the mop again. Oh, it's Courtney Bruce. She's busy housekeeping in this game. She wants that RAC floor to shine.
She's queen of the mop.
Fever centre, across the line is Pittman. Instrumental in re-energising this Fever outfit in the second quarter when she came off the break. Not a good ball, but enough of a handle for Fowler, and they narrow the gap again. They're out from the break leading 4-1 in this third quarter. I feel like we've got a game in our hands, Caitlin Bassett.
Oh, I think so. You don't make it to top of the table without being a quality side, and this is a good challenge for them to be able to fight back.
Verity Simmons out of play. Touch there from Bruce. She's up and about. And a settler from the hands of Maui Kumwenda for the Vixens. Nat, let's get down to you. Fever have come from the halftime break with a spring in their step. We'll get back to Nat Curtis in a minute. I don't know if she can hear us. The Fever crowd's starting to rev up and get involved.
No options in the Vixens attacking, and they're forced to go all the way back to the line. They're patient with the ball, but happy to work and chip. Oh.
And for the first time, a little hesitation in Kumwenda about where to go and when to go. It played right into the hands of the Fever defence. Courtney Bruce and Ariang all over it.
And all they need to do is steady, fake it to Kumwenda. She would have sucked in those 2 defenders and left Kira Austin open under the post.
Sideline eye for us, Nat Medhurst.
Yeah, just wanted to speak about Verity Simmons. During the second quarter, or as I touched on at quarter time, Dan Ryan went straight up to her. During the second quarter, you could see him on the sideline barking orders. And then just before heading into this third quarter, we had Courtney Bruce also in her ear. So she's getting a lot of feedback from everyone. She's obviously been a little bit quiet. And for someone like Verity, she can be in her head quite a bit. So I think the girls need to be mindful, or the players around her, around how much information that they are giving her, but she has come into this third quarter a lot better. She is starting to get her hands on the ball and greater connection into Fowler, which is what we're used to seeing.
Now, while we've got you, I just want to pump your tyres up a little bit. I was scanning through some records during the week, and you still hold the all-time record in National League for most goal assists in a season. 440. You must have been exhausted, but it does go to all the work you did, and you've got many other attributes. I'm not suggesting that, but all the work you did in giving ball to Fowler and servicing a tall shooter. How important is this in this Fever outfit?
Oh, it's incredibly important. That's a very interesting stat as well. First and foremost,
I thought you'd like that. I thought you'd like that.
But, you know, at the end of the day, we know what a focus and powerhouse Fowler is, and when she's there, you need to be able to give those balls and that connection, and it does. When you're able to get them into her a lot quicker and easier, it makes it so much harder for the defensive team to be able to set up. And I think that's what the Vixens really came out and did in that first quarter, was really stifled that feed into Fowler, and they were able to get tips and capitalise. So Fever will want to be able to get those feeds back into her and get that connection going a lot quicker.
Thanks, Nat. Well, they're warming to the task. They're not quite red hot yet. Courtney Bruce, though, you just get the sense, Caitlin, she is out and hunting. And when that happens, it's danger for the opposition.
That's right. I think Mwenda did a great job of keeping her busy in that first quarter, but since then she's really upped the ante. She's having a look. She's doing a great job one-on-one, and she's confident with the players around her, which give her the opportunity to come out and have a chew.
9-goal game. And it's not likely that these two will resort to a Suncorp super shot overload to win it. They're likely to go to take the shot where it lands, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. This team, both these teams less likely. They're not high in the stats for the super shot. I think that goes to Helen Housby at the Swifts currently. But they're capable of shooting them if they need to, so it's good to know that.
Of course, saw the two giant shooters, the powerhouse display on the weekend. Nice drive from Kosh, more likely to be played to the post in this one. And there's another for Fowler. And Fever level for the quarter score, 7 apiece. They're still not making inroads into this scoreline. It's a slow burn. Too slow for Dan Ryan. Oh, closing the space. Always on. Beautiful setup from the Vixens defenders. And hesitation in the pass dropped short by Kosh. There he is, Dan Ryan, trying to energise his Fever outfit.
So as we can see there, our Nissan Net Points match leader, Lizzie Watson's sitting on 94. She's well out in front at the moment, and that's off the back of 19 goal assists and 32 feeds. So Verity Simmons does need to step up and try and shut her down, because she is doing a wealth of work.
As we mentioned earlier, no Jess Anstis, and that would have been a strong option to play against a Liz Watson, body for body, strength for strength. Different style of player, Verity Simmons. It's such a good link to Fowler when she's humming. Break call against Sunday RM, gives possession to the Vixens. Maloney down the line. Austin thinks about it, drops.
And she's just chipping away in that goal circle. She's 15 from 18 currently, 1 from 1 in the super shot. So it's good to know if Kamwenda's not on, that Austin will just pop in front and settle them nicely.
Kosh to post.
Sorry, goal defence.
And Mannix steps out of play. Penalty successful for Fowler.
She heard contact goalkeeper and she thought it was her, because she normally has
wearing the GK bib.
Bless her. Courtney Bruce actually doing a positional switch. We've seen her on Kira Austin a fair bit, even as high as putting hands up on the first pass on the centre pass. So interesting to see that.
Back to a 2-on-1 to Mark Mwenda. Austin shoots through. 10 apiece.
Who's going to crack first?
And what about cracking? The Fever just needs to really execute. Needs some turnover ball completed. That's a better delivery. Just not their normal rhythm nor their normal access to Fowler. Still struggling and going blow for blow. Won't do it. Oh, good ball. Austin with the finish.
And we can see Fever have made a change. They've brought Sasha Glasgow back into that goal attack, and seems to be Dan's play today, continually switching Kosh and Glasgow. I think what Emma Kosh does well, Nat and I spoke about that speed, but that speed draws players onto her, so it actually leaves the wing attack free. What Sasha Glasgow brings to the role, though, is just her shooting power. So I think, you know, to help Fowler with the load and try and catch up this score a little bit, having her in the circle really helps.
And on the eve of the Suncorp super shot period, nice time to roll her in. So 5 seconds out from the power 5. Fever, the last couple. Need to be able to string some more consistent goals, and that comes down to turnover ball. 7 the difference. Still feel like this is a pot on a stove simmering, not yet at boil. Well, sets it up for a beautiful 15 to finish. Drive from Watson. Beautiful roll from Kira Austin.
I love that little screen that Hannah Mundy just set. Allowed Kira Austin to pop, and then she got the second pass after that. Unfortunately, didn't come off.
Just about to say, here's a moment for Fever. They ran it at some pace. It's held up. They need to convert here. This is a very important moment for Fever. Make use of this turnover ball. Completion from the next. Narrow the gap. 6-goal game. Centre to follow. Here come the Fever. Over the top to Fowler. She goes to post. Doesn't miss. Here we go.
She thought about passing it out so Sasha could have a go at the super shot, but turned and nailed it herself.
Hesitation in the Vixens forward line and good pressure from Simmons outside the circle. Again, no rush to the Suncorp super shot. This for one. Fever winning the quarter. Need more. Pittman. Will she go from there, Fowler? She has done it. It's not frequent, but she has done it.
I challenged her last week about it after MVP. She shot 66 or 67 goals at 100%. And I said, where's the super shot? You know, is that the next challenge for you?
Well, she shot 66 from 66, and I say it's 100% because she did miss the super shot, but I'm not counting it. No, we're going to go with 100%. Here come the Fever, 3 minutes out from three-quarter time. It's been a slow build from the start. Wiped out by the Vixens, 23-14 at the end of the first quarter. They have clawed their way back into this game and are setting up the final 15 as a showdown. This for two. Suncorp super shot range, offloads to Austin. Business as usual for Kira Austin. And the Vixens hit 50. Chiseling away are the hosts. Here she goes. Does she go? Drops it short.
She wants it, doesn't she? I love that she's getting out there and being confident. Unfortunately, when she's shooting that goal, there's not a strong rebounder underneath the post.
Now that's the beauty when Glasgow's on song for Suncorp super shot. Fowler is there to wrap up any rebound if it's a miss. Forced to go back are the Vixens. 6 in it, 2 minutes out from three-quarter time.
Too close, outside.
Nat, starting to get interesting.
It's getting very interesting. We're going to be in for a great last quarter, but I wanted to touch on Emily Mannix. We haven't really spoken about her, but since she's come on, she's playing at in her more unusual position at goal defence, but she's been doing a phenomenal job on the Fever centre passes with really making it difficult for the goal attack to be able to get that centre pass to receive, but then also what's happening back in the circle. And her and Liv Lewis are working really beautifully in being able to go into a box defence, switch positions and really attack that ball and make it very difficult. So I think Emily, particularly out there at goal defence, which as I said is a little bit unusual, is going really well for the Vixens.
Thanks, Nat. We just saw a great image there of the positional switch between the two of them. Liv Lewis playing high, Mannix back on the tall shooter. Closing off the space, going back into the box. So some nice footwork and some great strategy and defence from the Vixens. They trail the quarter by 1, but they hold the lead. And they're cool, calm and collected. Here's a moment for Fever. Bruce recognised it, wants to get on with it. Not happy about the delay. Back to the skipper. No easy progress through the midcourt. Vixens, strong defensive unit through their middle. Under 30 on the clock until three-quarter time. Need to penetrate.
It's just very clogged in that middle, isn't it?
Well, they're playing quite lateral, and both Simmons and Pittman made the same move. It needed a strong cut, maybe from the back from Glasgow. Suncorp super shot drops for Sasha Glasgow. And a few more of those in the final quarter, and they'll be back in business. Up they go to Fowler. She's going to go long too. The buzzer beats her. And the crowd deflates. But what a run from West Coast Fever. So we've got a very interesting 15 minutes of netball coming up.
Vixens holding on to a 5-goal lead here at RAC Arena as we head into the final quarter. Listening into the Vixens, Simone McInnes just asking her players to keep it simple. In attack, she wants them to keep working on those triangles because it's really opening up the space beautifully for them. And in defence, having a crack at that ball. I think defensively, as we've touched on, the way in which they're playing that box defence has been phenomenal throughout this entire game, and making sure that they still go out and continue to have a crack at those balls. So we're in for an amazing quarter here of netball to finish off this game. Back to you, Annie.
Thanks, Nat. Well, the race is on and there's so much at stake, and Dan Ryan, well, he was laying down the law to the troops.
You guys have them exactly where we need them right now. Again, we're now lurking and stalking even closer. We're putting all the pressure on them to not make a mistake. All right, so go for stuff. If you feel it, back it in. If you're in a grind moment, be patient, be consistent, the opportunities will come. The more active we are, the harder we are to play against. All right, so keep challenging.
Off the back of an 18-15 quarter, the Fever feel like they're actually in box position. We have them where we need them, said Dan Ryan. Minor premiership and the right to host a major semi up for grabs. Perhaps ultimately the Suncorp Super Netball premiership. Can Dan Ryan create history for West Coast Fever?
Uncharacteristic miss there from Mwai, dropping her to 97%. So she's just had one
shabby, I
miss.
say.
I'm sure she'll be annoyed at it. It's those easy ones under the post that always get our shooters.
Well, we said we were in for a shootout between these two. Fever shot at 97% last week. Vixens shot at 94%. They're about on the same track for this one. It's pretty nice to know that if you get the ball down, that's what happens.
Yeah, that's a lot of shooting practice there, Annie, as we both know.
Yeah. No, Kamwenda steps it in. A beautifully weighted ball from Liz Watson. And Simone McInnes hasn't been tempted to change that midcourt. I wondered whether Maloney would move to centre and Watson to wing attack just to change up the structure, but she's backing them in. M. Mannix still at goal defence, so Western being rested. Remembering there's a lot of netball coming up for all teams. Matches again on the weekend. Vixens will host the New South Wales Swifts. Fever are at home to the Giants. Getting down to the business end. Oh, read well, but the timing out from Frances Bayman just hasn't quite been as impactful as usual.
No, that's right. I think she's been working the ground really hard, but we're yet to see her pick up a deflection or an intercept at the moment. I feel like she's maybe just concentrating too much on her player and not where the ball is.
Courtney Bruce really working front position. I thought she'd get the feet around and attack from the back, but she rode the front so hard she almost forced Kamwenda off court. Now she's out of play. A settler from Austin. A good start from the visitors.
I'd love to see Vixens just kick it up another gear. They smashed that first quarter and they've lost the second and the third. I just want to see a little bit of fire and a little bit of spark. It might involve a change, or it might just involve a player taking a strong ball or doing something courageous out there on court.
Well, Dan Ryan said, we've got to force them to make mistakes. They were forced back to the transverse line, couldn't penetrate then, but pressure alone won't be enough. Turnover ball is what's needed. I think the mop's about to make another appearance, is it?
I think Courtney Bruce called that one again. She did!
Okay. Have we got a stat on this? We need a stat. A stat on the mop and who calls the mop.
I reckon that would be worth it.
And on the leaderboard, you'll see Courtney Bruce.
Well, it's hard, you know, when your legs and arms are getting tangled in that circle. People are hitting the deck.
Turnover. Vixens in possession.
Oh,
there it is.
Yeah.
Beautifully read, and the speed onto that ball.
Her footwork, those last two steps, so impressive. Have a look. The Harvey Norman replay just here. As she gets around, robbed that one right out of Kamwenda's hands.
Important turnover ball for the Fever. They must capitalise. And these are the areas Dan Ryan was talking about. We've got to sit and force them to make errors, and then we're in the business of winning. And that's an example, and that's one. They take it to 49, and Dan Ryan likes it. What pressure can they mount now? Fever in chase position. Oh, quick hands, lightning hands from Kira Austin. Another attempt from Bruce, couldn't quite get up, barking out the orders. Good speed off the line from Emma Posh.
As we can see there, the Vixens shooting stats, 92% from Kamwenda. Austin sitting at 85%, so both up there. Both sharing the load, which is great to see. It's a little bit different down the other end with Fowler shooting majority of the goals for her team, which we normally see.
Simone McInnes looking a little more anxious. Shot from Kira Austin. Vixens hit 58. Nat Medhurst.
You say Simone McInnes is looking a bit anxious. On the back of that intercept before from Courtney Bruce, she got up out of her chair and yelled at Kamwenda, and it scared the living daylights out of me. And has asked Kamwenda to stay in the circle. So obviously when she's moving, it's allowing Courtney Bruce to do what she does best, which is have a crack at that ball. As you said, she comes onto the ball so beautifully. So I think if it was me, Kamwenda would do the smart thing and not leave that goal circle for the rest of this quarter.
And so say all of us.
I know, I've been told that a few times myself, so poor Kamwenda, I know what she's dealing with.
Good pickup, Nat. Love the humour. Not so funny if you're Maui Kamwenda. It's an 8-goal game. Fever really need to do something impactful soon.
Well, I feel like they're prepared for it as well. They had to do it against the Magpies a few weeks ago, so they know what to do. They can't waste too much time before they start their run, though.
Fowler now, pushing herself down court, has a voice. So she's moving out of the comfort zone, trying to inspire. What can they do at the business end, the defenders' ends? Bruce out hunting. Ariang so light, almost around it, just can't get hand to ball.
Kamwenda is such a great holder in the fact that she waits until the ball is over the player's head. She also has great elevation.
Well, speaking of waiting, Dan Ryan won't wait any longer. He's called an HCF tactical timeout and he's called the troops in.
Footwork angles, if you can hustle around the front position, get the ball lifted, we can have a look at stuff. All right, so back yourself in. You and Vez work on first phase together. You just take care of your own down the back there, all right? Keep that front position on her, right? You're getting, again, close, close, close.
If I'm up on the line or a positional,
Good job, mate. Get it down the floor. Get a shot up in the first couple of minutes to get your rhythm, and then get the hand nice and hot, all right? So, Jay, just be mindful again when we get into super shot period. Either come out on second phase release so you open up some space for Sash, or stay there and draw the penalties, right? And then Sash can go, all right? Really important. Give me some defensive ball. Win some ball, all right? Let's go. Okay, in nice and close, guys. Okay, 8 goals and we're going for it. All right, now or never, essentially. All right, so we've got to lock in these next 2 minutes before super shot, see where we're at, and then be brave and bold. Don't die wondering. We're going for the win. Let's see what we can do. Come on.
let's go. Fever on 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
It's now or never, says Dan Ryan. 3 of their 4 games at home. He wants to set the standard now in front of the RAC Arena crowd. Get ball, he said to Verity Simmons. He swung the defensive line. Francis Bayman and Arang have swung across the defensive line. Arang now at wing defence. And Francis Bayman with the instructions to contain Kira Austin. Arang to get ball. Go out hunting. There's one. Austin floats across the line. Beautiful ball by the floorboards to Mundy. There's a touch from Verity Simmons.
Lizzie Watson hits the deck and just has a bit of the shake of the head.
Didn't like the attention. Good screen from Kira Austin. Opens up for Kamwenda. Not happy. Played it one too many. There's the ball Dan Ryan was waiting for and the skipper obliges. Pittman barking with the arms pointing where she wants it. You here, me there.
I love it when a player points and tells you where to go.
I'm sure you don't.
I do.
Up goes Fowler, down goes Mannix. All of a sudden it's starting to heat up here at RAC Arena.
Here we are with the Harvey Norman replay. Courtney Bruce, she timed that jump perfectly with the collection as well. I think she just sensed the hesitation on Kumwenda with that shot.
Ball in hand again, Fowler steps it in, back-to-back goals for the Fever. Courtney Bruce has the amazing, uncanny ability to lift a team, and the front line have answered. Dan Ryan still barking out orders. Here come the Fever.
That's right, Courtney Bruce, she has grown in this game. 4 intercepts and 8 deflections at the moment.
How will the Vixens respond to the pressure? 2 over the shot, drops off the back. Oh, touches everywhere. Doesn't stick. 5 the difference, halfway through the final quarter. Good touch from Verity Simmons. She's up the ante defensively, just as Ryan asked. A settler. Quick hands across the line, quick ball to Fowler. There's an urgency.
So our net points leaders at the moment, Lizzie Watson 122.5, 124 now, followed by Courtney Bruce on 91, so she's definitely stepped up her workload. Janelle Fowler rounding out that top 3 on 83.5.
Just under a couple of minutes until the power 5. How important will Sasha Glasgow be to Fever in the super shot range?
Huge, absolutely huge. And she's got nothing to lose. She has to put these goals up if they want to take this back and win this game.
Crowd doesn't like it. Now there's an argument about the courtesy and the etiquette of ball handover. I haven't seen that before. Have you seen that before?
Never. Because no one's ever wrong in the circle either. So everyone's, oh, it wasn't me, wasn't me.
I don't think I've ever asked somebody to hand me the ball in a better fashion.
Normally they're fighting over it.
Through the hands of Frances Bayman. Best we don't get a close-up of Dan Ryan at that moment. Efficient and steady are the Vixens, and they capitalise on the error. Vixens lead the quarter 11-9. 45 seconds out from the power 5. Vixens showing great composure. Out of the blocks early first quarter. Took it 23-14. Lost the second quarter by 1. The third quarter by 3. But are resilient at the back end of the game, just doing enough. Contact call goes against Emily Mannix. There's a screen, Glasgow for Fowler. Recognised by Lewis, who frees herself.
So defenders now need to be smart. They don't want to be getting out of play outside the circle and leaving their mate with a 2-on-1.
It's cluttered, but it's patient. It's that experience and patience through Watson, through Maloney, through Austin that stands them in great stead.
That's what I feel. Vixens just have a control and a patience and a calmness about them. If they keep possession of their own centre passes, they should be fine for this quarter.
And it frustrates an opponent.
It does, doesn't it? It's like playing keepy-offs. It's horrible.
Does your head in. West Coast Fever, top of the table with it all ahead of them. Are we about to see a new competition leader? 4.5 minutes from finding out by the floorboards. Glasgow, can she show a hand with a Suncorp super shot? No shot. It's reset. Clear warning. Take it where I told you. Oh, it doesn't matter. Suncorp super shot. $100 ka-ching. Money in the bank for West Coast Fever. Oh, aggressive from the umpire and aggressive from Glasgow. Kind of liked it. Nat, how'd you enjoy that one?
It was fantastic. She loves the super shot, doesn't she, Sasha Glasgow? Both of these teams off their centre passes. One thing with Vixens, Kira Austin, I'd like to see when she receives that centre pass is actually try and get in, once she releases the ball, is then to get depth a bit quicker. She's sort of hanging up into the play just probably a little bit too long, and it's clogging up sometimes around with that space. And then Also here on for the Fever, I would like to see them using the back more on their centre passes because the Vixens are doing a really good wall, and I think they can just mix things up and maybe get a bit more flow into their front end of their line if Verity actually looks to go back first rather than using the attackers.
Thanks, Nat. Back in the business of the game. Just 3 minutes to go, and there's another from Sasha Glasgow. Hot hand from the Fever goal attack. 5-goal game. Another Suncorp super shot. Money in the bank. Points on the board for Fever as Bruce disrupts the Vixens' attack. Needs ball in hand. 5 the difference. 14 all in this final quarter. And Fever, lukewarm to start, have really heated things up across this game. Now in the fight of their lives.
That's right, and they know that there's enough time still if they keep nailing these super shots to take back this score.
Contact centre.
Can she go 3? And she does! Sasha Glasgow built a statue outside RAC Arena. The crowd going off for the difference. Pressure now on the Vixens to hold their nerve. They did it last week. Can they do it again? Kumwenda can. 5. 2 remaining on the clock, we think.
Fowler outside the circle, rare.
I think she wants a super shot.
She wants...
Well, it was through the hands of the Vixens. Played back in. Glasgow goes. It's all a little messy, all frustration, all desire. So just under 2 minutes. That was an important moment, and Dan Ryan knows it. Look at his face. That was an opportunity gone missing. Chance for the centre to follow. Contact goes against Glasgow. So it's all passion, not execution in the last couple of minutes, and that could hurt the competition leaders. Vixens won't be in a hurry. Lateral they go on 3 balls. Up the middle, they sort themselves. Austin centering it. Mundy, she's been solid. There's the roll from Austin, over the top to Kumwenda. Beautifully weighted ball, composed finish. The Vixens take it to 69. Hard to see the Fever doing it from here. You just look at the live ladder, puts Vixens top of the table.
Fever won't be happy with that, will they? Chelsea Pittman mentioned they want that top position, they want this premiership, so they will not be happy that they are currently now sitting 2nd.
And the Swifts, of course, pushing up to 3rd, recognising matches in hand for the lower teams on the ladder. Into the last minute, Kumwenda. Business as usual, just the one miss from Maui Kumwenda. Crowd seems resigned to an opportunity gone missing.
Yeah, I get the sense that the players feel like that they've run out of time, and not Sasha Glasgow. She's happy to dive out of court for that ball.
Well, to be fair, they had their moments. They didn't start, let's put it down to the first quarter. They walked their way, warmed their way into the game. Had their moments in this last quarter, though.
That's right. They definitely had momentum at times. Just a few silly turnovers, and that's about as silly as they get, bouncing the ball off the post.
Dan Ryan's still barking out orders. Percentages are important. They need to go for as many points as they can, as many goals, because at the end of the day, that could well shift 1 and 2. That one, I think, denied. So at full time, the visitors take the chocolates. They defeat the home side West Coast Fever 70-63. What was ultimately a boil-over. Started on simmer, got interesting through the match, but you have to put it down to the visitors, the Melbourne Vixens, absolutely composed. Knew what they had to do, executed well. Very few changes to the lineup, and the ones they made, they were well rewarded for.